Good morning, students. Today, my class on principles of photochemistry. This is the one of the important physical chemistry topic. So, this is a very long and big topic. So, I am going to divide this topic into two parts: principles of photochemistry part 1 and second part, principles of photochemistry part 2. So I am going to divide two parts. So first of all, principles of photochemistry. Principles and rules are have different definitions. Rules we can change. Rules can change with time, with situation. But when come to principles does not change. They have fixed. So in this topic we are going to discuss about fixed principles of photochemistry. So before going to the detail of photochemistry, first of all we have to know what is the definition of the photochemistry. Photo means light radiations. Chemistry, so there is a connection between light radiations and chemistry. So this relation in this topic we are going to be discussed. So generally photochemistry deals with the study of photochemical reactions which are occurred by absorption of light radiations in the form of photons and quantum's energy. So by the absorption of the light radiations, the chemical reactions going to be change. So by the absorption of the light radiations in the form of photons means light contains the energy in the form of photons, or the energy is called also quantas or quantums. Okay, so in the form of photons and quantums, the molecules in the chemical reactions observed and they are converted into products, required products. So this type of chemical change of the photochemical reactions we are going to discuss in this topic. So this is a general definition. The photochemistry is nothing but deals the study of photochemical reactions which are caused by the absorption of light radiations. They are lying between 800 nanometers to 200 nanometers. Generally, in this region, visible and ultraviolet light radiations will be present. So, in the photochemistry, we are mainly using ultraviolet and visible light radiations. Okay. So generally in our day-to-day life we can see the photochemical reactions. So photosynthesis is the best example to explain the photochemical reactions, and photobiology, this is the running developmenting science in these days. And formation of vitamin D is also one of the photochemical reaction, and formation of ozone, formation of smog, formation of the proteins and nucleic acids, and these all are explained by the photochemical reactions, by the absorption of the light radiations. So these are the best examples for the photochemical reactions. So for these photochemical reactions, we have to know the laws or principles of the photochemistry. What are the laws? What are the principles of the photochemistry? You have to know it. So first law is Grothus Draper law. This law is also called as principle of photochemical activation. This is also called as principle of photochemical activation law. So according to this Grothus Draper law, only the light which is absorbed by a molecule or a atom can bring about a chemical change. So generally all the light was incident on the sample of the reaction, but all the light may not effective in bringing the chemical change. So according to Grothus Draper, only that light which is absorbed by a molecule or atoms can only bring the chemical change. The molecules, the atoms which absorbed the light radiations, they only bring the photochemical change. This is the Grothus Draper law. Means all the light incident on the sample is not going to be effective through bring out the chemical change of the chemical reactions. Only the light which is absorbed by the molecules can only bring the chemical change. Okay, right. So second law is also most important, that is Stark-Einstein law of photochemical equivalence, or this law is also called as principle of quantum activation. So according to this law, one molecule is activated by the absorption of one quantum of radiation in the primary step of the photochemical reactions. So according to this law, one molecule is activated by one quantum or one photon of the radiation in the primary step of the photochemical reactions. So according to this law, one molecule in the chemical reaction only absorbed one quantum of the radiation or one photon of the radiation in the first step of the photochemical reactions. This is the second law of the photochemistry, the Stark-Einstein law of photochemical equivalence. So for example, the light radiation frequency V and H is the Planck quantum. So the total energy of the light radiation E is equal to Na is called as a Avogadro number. Na into HV. This is the energy equation of the light radiations. So according to this law, one molecule is only observed one quantum. This is the second law of the photochemistry. First law, Grothus Draper law. Second law is Stark-Einstein law. Next, Next important is, according to previous two laws, we have to estimated that the term is called as a quantum yield. Next one is quantum yield or quantum efficiency, whatever it is, you can call as quantum yield or quantum efficiency. So, what is the definition of the quantum yield or quantum efficiency? So, the ratio between the number of molecules that are react and the number of photons of radiation observed. Simple. Quantum yield is nothing but the ratio between number of molecules reacted by the absorption of the number of quantas. Means, according to second law of the photochemistry, one molecule only absorbed one quanta of radiation. One quantum of radiation. Okay. This is the quantum yield definition. This is the quantum yield definition. When in the form of another explanation, the ratio of the number of moles that react and the number of Einsteins of radiation observed, means the number of moles that are reacted and the number of Einsteins observed, the ratio is called as also quantum yield. Means 1 mole of molecule absorbed 1 Einstein of energy. Next, another form of definition of quantum yield, the number of molecules of product formed and the number of quantas radiation observed. Molecules formed. One molecule is formed by the absorption of the one quantum of the radiation. So, according to quantum yield definitions, if this law is correct, the quantum yield should be unity for all photochemical reactions. This, however, is very rare. So, the quantum yield of the photochemical reactions may be 10 to the power of 6 to 10 to the power of minus 2 for several photochemical reactions. Means this quantum yield going to be different for the different reactions. So, this quantum yield is determined by the experimental methods. The experimental methods are determination of number of moles reacting, determination of number of Einsteins of light observed. By these two methods we can we can determine the quantum yield of the photochemical reactions. So, according to quantum yield, all photochemical reactions does not have quantum yield unity. So this is definition of the quantum yield. Quantum yield is determined by the experimental methods. So different photochemicals reactions have the different types of quantum yield. So some of the reactions have the quantum yield small integer. Some photochemical reactions has quantum yield at highly values. Some photochemical reactions have the less values, less than 1 also. So what is the reason? What is the reason for this different types of quantum yields for different type of photochemical reactions? So for example, combination of sulfur dioxide and chlorine, the quantum yield is 1. For example, dissociation of iodide and dissociation of hydrogen bromide, quantum yield is 2. For example, combination of hydrogen and chlorine, quantum yield is 10 to the power of 4 to 10 to the power of 6. Combination of hydrogen and bromide, quantum yield is 0.01. So extremely high quantum yield, extremely low quantum yield, and small integer 1, 2, 3 quantum yield also produced by the different types of the photochemical reactions. So in order to explain the variations in the quantum yields, Bodenstein is a scientist name. Bodenstein pointed out that photochemical reactions involved in two distinct processes. One process is called as a first process is called as a primary process, and second process is called as a secondary process. So Bodenstein scientists, to explain the different types of quantum yields, he pointed out two processes. So every chemical reaction is going in the form of two processes. Primary process. In this process, the light radiation quantum is observed by molecule and form the excited molecule A star. For example, let us take a molecule A. After absorption of the light radiation in the form of quantums, it is excited to A star. This is the primary process of the photochemical reactions of the everyone. So by the absorption of the quantum energy, the molecule going to be excited. So excited molecule may get dissociated to atoms or free radicals, or in the process of loss of energy, they are going to perform the fluorescence and phosphorescence. These all are occurred in the only primary process. These all are occurred in only primary process. Means by the absorption of the light radiation, the molecule going to be excited. At excited state, they may dissociate it to molecules, another atoms, and other free radicals, and also lost the energy to perform the fluorescence and phosphorescence. So these are the processes only involved in the primary process. What's happened in the secondary process? In the secondary process, the excited atoms or molecules or free radicals maybe they initiate the series of chain reactions. So in the first step, the excited molecule going to form the free radicals. Those free radicals initiate the chain reactions in the secondary process. So to get high quantum yield, so series of chain reactions produce the high quantum yield, or to get low quantum yield, the excited molecules may get deactivated before to form the products. So for the low quantum yield in the secondary process, the excited molecule may be deactivated before it going to form the product. At that time, the quantum yield may be very low, or collision, the excited molecule, the collision with non-excited molecules. So in the first step, the excited molecule in the second step will collision with other non-excited molecules. So this also leads to low quantum yield and recombine to form the original product. The excited molecule go to the excited state and recombine with the original molecules may leads to low quantum yield of the reaction. So these processes, most important processes are the reasons for high yielding quantum yields, low quantum yields. So first process is primary process, secondary process is secondary process. These are the important processes. So then, consequences of light absorption. So according to Groth's dropper law, the light which is observed by the system can bring about a chemical change. However, it is not essential that the light which bring about a chemical change. The light observed may cause only decrease in the intensity of the incident radiation, or the light observed may be re-emitted in one or more steps. This phenomena is called a fluorescence surface. So when the light radiation observed by the molecule, after observed the light radiation, the molecule going to be excited. That excited molecule may cause in decrease of intensity of incident radiation. This is called as Beers-Lambert law. This will be explained in the separate slide. So the light observed by the molecule may cause decrease in incident radiation, intensity of the incident radiation, or after observed the light, the molecule going to be excited. At excited state, it re-emitted means it re-emit the light in the form of fluorescence or phosphorescence. So according to photochemical laws, the molecule going to be excited. At excited state, it may converted into products, or it may lose the energy. It may re-emitted the light in the form of fluorescence and phosphorescence. It may converted into products. So these all phenomena going to be explained through the Jablonski diagram. So in the next class, we are going to discuss about Jablonski diagram. So with this, we end the first part of the photochemistry. Thank you.